Let's find out now what syndicated columnist Charles Kraut, who often sits next to me here on the panel for a special report, thinks of all of this. Charles, good morning. Your thoughts?
Well, it's a great day, and it's a great moment for the United States. And I think the principal reason and the principal effect, there are going to be many. But the most important is to demonstrate the reach and the power and the efficiency of the United States military. That, I think, is going to reverberate around the world. We have suffered over the last decade or so, even longer. We were attacked in 1998 by Al-Qaeda for the first time in a major way. And after an indecisive war in Iraq, a war in Afghanistan, it looks as if we are either losing or at least sliding backwards. Operation in Libya that's inconclusive. The world had a sense the United States did not have the power, did not have the efficiency, and did not have the might. The way the world saw us right after the Iraq or the Gulf War, the war in 1991, when there was a sort of this awe about what America could do. And this tells the world that it could take a decade. You could be hiding anywhere in the world. We will stay on the trail. We will find you, and we'll kill you. And I think that it's like, in some ways, the Entebbe raid the Israelis pulled off in 1976. They reached all the way into Uganda and extracted hostages and killed the hostage takers. So this demonstration of strength, I think, is the most important effect.
Charles, it's also important to point out that this is not just a U.S. Victory in this fight. Obviously, Al-Qaeda is behind a lot of attacks, the Madrid train station, the London 7/7 bombings. They're tied to attacks around the world. So as we see these live pictures at the White House and Times Square, it's also important to point out that this has a world aspect to it.
Exactly, and in a way it reinforces the symbolism here, because Al-Qaeda attacked, all the Western countries practically. But the only one that could do what we do, the only one that had the power, the reach, the global scope, the wherewithal to do it, is the United States, in a way, again, at the name of the world in a way that only it can do. Just how we have been seen ever since the fall of the Soviet Union, early on in that period, again, after the Gulf War, is the one who could do it easily and with great triumph. Lately, people thinking, well, America has slipped. I think this is a great restoration of that image. The other effects are, of course, on Al-Qaeda itself. It may or may not reconstitute. I think we underestimate how important was bin Laden's leadership, the symbolism, and charisma, because you didn't swear allegiance to Al-Qaeda. You swore allegiance to him, and there will undoubtedly be a succession, the fight. It could be weakened. It could recover, but there's a good chance that it could be weakened like Al-Qaeda in Iraq was after we destroyed its leadership, one after another after another. So I think it's going to have a secondary effect. But the most interesting question, I think, Brett, is what is the role of the Pakistanis? Of all the statements that will be coming out on this, they'll be from every capital in the world. The one that matters the most is the one out of Islamabad, which ironically is where he was hiding. This man was hiding in a suburb of Islamabad. It's like hiding on Long Island near New York. I mean, it's not a cave, it's not remote. What was that government doing? Yes, it gave us information, but from what I understand in your reporting, Brett, it did not know about this operation. We went out on our own, meaning we had no trust in the Pakistanis to keep a secret and not to somehow inform bin Laden. I think that's extremely important. It's going to have to explain itself. It'll be interesting to see whether it washes its hands, whether it complains the way it complains about the drone attacks, or whether it joins in taking the credit. I don't think it knows. It'll be interesting to see how it reacts, because it will affect our relationship with Pakistan for years to come.
Last thing, Charles. Domestically, the war in Afghanistan has really been performing poorly in the polls. A lot of people saying, is it worth it? Why are we there? Does this change the dynamic of Afghanistan as we look at that operation there?
If you were to ask the military on the ground, if you were to ask General Petraeus, he would probably say it's not going to have a decisive effect. It may, over the long run, Al-Qaeda will have some trouble, perhaps, in reconstituting itself. It may never have the unity and the power it has as a result of the loss of bin Laden. That's what the military would say. However, the political effect here at home will be, there's this sense, as you look at those pictures of the jubilation in the streets in New York and Washington and elsewhere, we got the guy. We have gotten our just revenge. This is a victory. That's how it feels. And that, I think, will give the president an opening, if he wants, if he determines that the war in Afghanistan is a losing proposition, at least in the long run, that we will be there for years and years and have a kind of indecisive outcome. If he decides he wants to actually accelerate a withdrawal, this is the opening he needed, and this is an opening he could use. In a sense, it's like that idea way back in the 60s, declare victory and go home. That would be a crude way to put it here, but I think in a sense the president can now argue in time we're going to start a withdrawal, a rapid withdrawal. Al-Qaeda is weakened. It's not really in Afghanistan that much. It really wasn't. Even now, there are only, dozens of Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. It's weakened. Our job is done. We will keep vigilant, but it will allow him, if he wants, and I think he may do it. I'm not sure how he'll decide. But it gives him a political opening to say, we are out, leaving with honor and dignity, having accomplished our role.
Charles Krauthammer, syndicated columnist, always glad to have you on for your analysis and perspective. Thank you, Charles.
It's a pleasure.
The president's